I'm here with Joe Urias. He is the head football coach with the Irvin Rockets. Coach, how are you doing this afternoon?
Doing good. I'm glad to be here. This is a good thing to go to right here.
It is. I'm interested to see in all the interaction between teams and players. You know, it's just really nice to see get acquainted with each other, and I'm sure most of them know each other anyway. But
yes, they do.
In any case, a couple of questions for you. Last year obviously was a disaster. A lot of things you have to make adjustments for, as we were talking about earlier. What kind of adjustments did you as a head coach, your coaching staff, and your players had to actually go through to get through the season last year?
Oh, wow. It's a lot. Well, we constantly are just asking our players to stay in contact with us in communication. So a lot of it is like you got to teach your backups to know what the starter's doing, because once that person is sick and you don't know what's going on, last year you had to sit them out, tell them to go get tested, and then get clearance from a doctor. Meanwhile, you got to get your backup to get going, fill in. So It was just constant. You got to teach everybody. So I think that's what we did this last year, was you had to teach everybody. We do that anyway, but it just became more important because of what was going on.
Yeah, and so, in looking back at some of the adjustments you made last year, what kind of adjustments would you say that worked pretty well that you might implement and continue in the future?
Well, I would say sort of the same thing. I mean, we got to make sure everyone knows their thing, and I think all the coaches do that. But at the same time, a lot of the adjustments that we did was you constantly had to have communication with your players all the time. I mean, every day I'm communicating with them, making sure they fill out their questionnaire for COVID, making sure that they're feeling okay, and contacting their parents if something's up. Their grades, that's the difference now, is they're in person now, so now they have no excuse to get up and go to school. Before it was they got lazy and just didn't open a computer. So I hope the kids will make a better adjustment this year with that.
Right. I've asked all the coaches that have passed through here so far. One of the facts that I thought was very interesting. They mentioned about I don't know if at Irvin you played a JV schedule last year or a freshman schedule last year. Some schools did not. And so how is that going? How do you see that affecting your future? Because, some of the students opt out and never came back. You've got all these other problems that you have to deal with.
Yes, that's what happened. We ended up with 23, maybe 24 players. And that included about three freshmen on the varsity squad last year. So with the grades going down, them not opening their computers, we lost a lot of kids, and also some opted out and have not returned. Maybe because they're still afraid of what's going to happen, or they just figured, it's not for me, I'm not going to do it anymore. So our numbers are still pretty low. We're going to have a freshman team, varsity for sure. Now we're trying to work on our JV, because that's the middle class, you could say, that they're trying to get back.
Right. Last year you all had a taste of the playoffs.
Yes.
And I'm sure that for your players that was an incentive coming into this year for the non-seniors. Anyway, how does it look as far as personnel? In other words, what are the individuals that we should look for offensively and defensively? Give me a couple of names, standout players.
Well, offensively, of course, coming back is our all-district quarterback, John Knutson. I mean, he's the one who's going to run that offense. He can actually call the offense for us, because he knows the offense. He's been varsity for us for 3 years. Isaac Guerrero is another one who's second year on varsity this year, played as a sophomore. Learned well from other two receivers who left, Jalen and Jose Mata. He learned a lot from them. And then Lyman, who opted out, and he's coming back now, Ryan Bautista, and he's going to be a pretty good, strong lineman, both offense and defensive side for us.
Good. That sounds good. Looking at your schedule, obviously your pre-district schedule, as I saw, there's just a couple of tough matchups there. In pre-district, and then of course you've got your normal district opponent that you're looking for. What do you expect out of that type of a schedule?
Well, like you said, the pre-district schedule, it's going to be pretty tough because they're all pretty good teams. I mean, we're all basically have the same numbers of players in our teams, and so it's going to be pretty competitive. The one before we start district, of course, is going to be Chapin, and Chapin's always strong, and Coach Warner's going to have them going all the time. So they're going to be a good squad, very good squad. And then as for our district, it's going to be a dogfight for fourth place, maybe a third place team, but those other teams have been making the playoffs, have always been pretty consistent. Right. So we're going to try to it's going to be a dogfight, basically. It's going to be pretty tough, but that's what we want, is have a chance to be in the playoffs, and that's what they want as well.
Sure. Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck this season, and hope to see you during the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.